on no snare drum.
What's going on, everybody? This is Trendkill Radio, a rock news show about all things rock, except for when it's not, brought to you by the Foundry Concert Club. They are right here in Cleveland, Ohio. I am your host, Sean Ryan.
And I'm Chris Jones. What up?
He's back again, and before we get started...
Nobody's important.
Guess who's back? Back. Rub my back, rub my back, rub my back.
I told you, I'm not doing that. I don't care how big the raise is.
Before we get started, why don't you guys just hit subscribe? Do it! Hit your notifications because we have no idea when these shows ever come out. Okay, and so there is something that we need to address right before we get into this week's story. The metal community has lost someone near and dear, and Chris, I think you can explain it better than I.
Yeah, again, this happened days before this, show was recorded and before or after it'll air. But we just wanted to send out our condolences to everybody in the Power Trip camp. Their lead singer Riley Gale passed away earlier this week, August 26th.
Yeah, our thoughts and condolences to his family. That's really unfortunate. I mean, we're not too far off from that age ourselves, and that's really terrible to hear. And we know that's a great loss to our community at large. That I know, I'm sorry, I don't want to bum everybody out, but I figure before we get into stupid Dee Snider, Sebastian Bach news, that we give a proper send off to the singer of Power Trip and everybody in his band and his family and friends.
Locked up for the firing squad. The firing squad.
No, bad news out of the way.
And now even more bad news. 80s metal. Just kidding.
Okay, and let's get started. We have an 80s throwback. You want to hear a bullshit story? You're about to.
Because guess what? There ain't shit going on because nobody gets to fucking do
there's
anything
not.
anymore.
There's no fucking... Dude, all right, the Atreyu story we broke last week, all right? But now we are 8 days past that, and not a single goddamn story came out that I found interesting at all. More than one paragraph. Smashing Pumpkins, they signed to what?
Yeah, Sumerian.
And they're known as
yeah, it's the same label as Asking Alexandria, Born of Osiris, Veil of Maya, all these quintessential mid-2000s metalcore bands.
Yeah, and they signed Smashing Pumpkins, and they released 2 new singles.
Their new song is super 80s new wave, completely new wave.
So is Power Man's new album. It's very new wave inspired. It still sounds like Power Man, but it's the guitars are, you can barely hear them. Hey, if big bands keep doing it and people keep listening, whatever. Well, let's get into the goddamn story, won't we?
Yay!
Well, former Skid Row's Sebastian Bach has come out against Dee Snider. Dee Snider made some remarks on Appetite for Distortion.
It's a podcast, right?
Yeah, it's a podcast. Dee Snider was on there and said, quote, "I hate what Kiss is doing with Ace and Peter's makeup on. I'm not a fan. When I left Twisted and went out at some point doing Twisted music, I never even thought of calling it Twisted Sister without the other 4 guys. Everyone is saying, but you're Twisted Sister. You wrote the songs." And I said, but that's not Twisted Sister. Bullshit. Not a single fucking person even fucking said that to him, but you're Twisted Sister. You wrote the song. What brown noser friends does he have going oh man, you're totally, yeah, I get it, he's the face of the band, but
yes, man. Yes, man.
I made all the right moves, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Every move a right one.
No one fucking said that to you, D. You loudmouth motherfucker.
He's nuts.
Yeah.
These nuts. Got him!
Got him!
He continues, "That's not Twisted Sister, and I won't do that out of respect to the other members of the band. I could have made a lot more money doing that, but I would not do that."
I call bullshit. Your record label wouldn't let you do that.
Yeah, I don't know, man, but I mean, I get what he's saying with the whole...
It makes sense. I mean, if I was in a situation like that and been the front man of some bands and such, I wouldn't do it. People are going to see right through it. You can kick members out and replace the whole fucking group, but it's not the same.
Yeah, but I mean, I see what he's saying, though. It was later mentioned in this story that, when Kiss had fired Peter and Ace, they brought in 2 new dudes and they had their own makeup, their own style, their own shit. Yeah. Right? They got rid of Ace and Peter, and then they did it again in the late 90s, and they brought these 2 dudes in and sported their makeup, their costumes, their style. Even when you look at the dude that's playing Ace Frehley's part, he's got even all the movements, the bent knees, kind of like back.
Honestly, like that's
He was in a
fucking
cover
creepy.
band playing that character.
Congratulations, you went from pretending to be him in a tribute band to pretending to be him in our band.
Well, I got nothing against that. I mean, I would fucking do the same thing, though. I mean,
if I was offered the part in a band that big, I could see knuckling under and being like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it."
yeah,
But
like that dude from Ohio,
Ripper Owen.
Ripper Owens. So if you got a band that's just going like, all right, we've axed the singer or he quit or what have you. I mean,
Yeah.
why not like try and cash in, get a
fuck it.
couple bucks?
Yeah, I totally get it.
I get why they would do that.
I
mean, I know Ace and Peter, they are critical of saying like, you motherfuckers, that's
Yeah.
I designed that goddamn fucking makeup myself.
Yeah, it's my character. It's almost like that's their intellectual property that somebody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be you now."
Yeah, I'm Spider-Man. Like, you can't come in and go, which they've done a million times.
Yeah,
over.
which, I mean, and Tom Holland crushed it. Fuck you, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, it's different
Yeah,
when you are a character, though.
Yeah.
As opposed to a member. Yeah, and then when you're talking in terms of singers, I mean, how well has that worked out for a lot of bands except for like Van Halen?
I mean, Killswitch Engage was the only one that came close to pulling it off. Like, but it's a band though. Replacing a singer is way more difficult. But I mean, when you're a band like Kiss, though, you replace members with guys that were doing their own thing, and then you bring back the makeup that those dudes are wearing. That's just fucking weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
get what you're saying. We are getting off track. Excuse us, everyone, for him drinking Monster Rehab and not alcohol. It's widely frowned upon in this show to.
Okay, you know what?
have
Fucking, you know what?
non-alcoholic-
Fine, I'll cave in, son. You want me to start drinking again? I will. This is on you.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
That's a
Hey,
plastic
what's up,
bottle, too. That looks like shit. Whatever you're drinking is garbage. Dee Snider continues, quote, I am a believer that if you're going to use the brand, you should have the classic lineup unless someone is dead. Then you are excused. You're excused because he's dead. Otherwise, you'd better show up and it better be the original band.
Yeah.
Eddie Trunk, famously of that metal show with Jim Florentine and that other guy, you know, they said with Dee, like, he's like, I couldn't agree more. And then this is where fucking Sebastian Bach rears his ugly head. And I love Sebastian. I've seen Sebastian. He was great.
I saw him at the fantasy.
I saw him at the fantasy, yeah, where I was supposed to get married this year. But guess what? Thanks to COVID, we fucking lost the venue.
So like anybody does nowadays when they have a beef or a disagreement with somebody, they take to Twitter. Bach goes on to say, quote, sadly, fans go and see Kiss anyways. What planet is that on? Kiss concerts might never exist again, and I feel sorry for anybody who was too deluded to miss that last ever Kiss tour on Earth. Your loss. I thank God we went 2 times. Tommy Thayer kicks ass. I was there. You were not.
He was speaking to Eddie Trunk. Dee Snider goes on to say, like, blah, blah, blah. You know, what if Twisted Sister reunited and just had a new guy with, you know, my hair and my makeup and just
Right.
it's my shit. You know, that's a point to be made.
Alice in Chains did it too.
Alice in Chains, well, that was the asterisk, though. Lane Staley died. Trunk then responded to Sebastian Bach and said, how about this one? If AC/DC decided to tour without Angus and put a replacement in the schoolboy outfit, would you be cool with that? That would be amazingly sad if nobody cared if AC/DC played with someone else in the schoolboy outfit. But nothing surprises me. It blows my mind how few care / know who's in the band or if it's even really live. That is a good question.
Sebastian Bach goes on to say, quote, how do you know what would be amazingly sad or not? Axl Rose, the lead singer on the last AC/DC tour, plus did a great job. What is amazingly sad is someone calling themselves a Kiss fan, but not bothering to go see the last ever Kiss tour, then to call people who went sad.
That is kind of iffy. That's kind of iffy because Brian Johnson from AC/DC, he was declared like borderline deaf. He couldn't go do the tour, and Angus Young was like, all right, well, my fucking brother died. Brian's, deaf. We're just going to go on. We have to. So I give Axl Rose a pass. Because Axl, like, he's got a 1 in a million voice.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody was going to pull that off, it was going to be him. If anything, it added a little something to the, tour, I guess, in a way. Because, you got Axl Rose singing for AC/DC, which if you're into that kind of thing, that's pretty fucking awesome.
And just to kind of round out this story, Paul Stanley, he got involved with this, and he was talking to Chris Jericho. Paul Stanley said, quote, well, let me put this in the simplest terms. In this case, this guy is a wannabe. Speaking of Dee Snider.
Oh, wow.
Has always been a wannabe and desperately wants attention attention and to be taken seriously, and that will never happen because he's obviously clueless that he and his whole band are a bunch of buffoons. End quote. Damning statement by Paul Stanley about Dee Snider and his band, or former band. They have since broken up. Not broken up, but they have ended their cycle. They just went like, all right.
Done.
I mean, Kiss has done that a lot.
Yeah.
And they keep on going.
Yeah. Now we're gonna do one more. Are you done now? Now we're gonna do one more. Now? Yeah, one more. Just.
Anyways, okay, so that is all that we have for this week's episode of Tranquil Radio. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to check us out at Instagram, Facebook, and obviously YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notifications. Once again, we have no idea when these shows are going to be coming out because their stories are so few and far between. Make sure to check out Tranquil Quickies.
Farting on no snare drum.